God bless you. This is Brother Ron Childress, and I'm here with the True Connection Ministry in Gassville, Arkansas. And I just want to thank you for watching this broadcast or this telecom. I thank God for everything that He's done here. And I guarantee you, if you can got the guts, God will work it out for you too. So what I want you to do is just kind of hang with me here a little bit. You know, God is doing great things in this ministry. We're growing. We're getting ready to increase. Later on, we'll give more information about what's going on and CDs and books. But at this moment, we got a special young lady that's all the way from North Carolina, but she's been her residence been South Carolina. I'm sorry about that, but her residence been here with us in Arkansas. And you know, when God built the ark using Noah, He saw that we were going to be here. So what I want you to do is just don't get off that jet. Stay right there, and we're going to introduce a young lady that can tell you some good things and a true book that she just wrote. And this book entitles Great Things. So I got Sister Evelyn, say that last name.
Evelyn Fort Stewart.
Fort Stewart.
Yeah.
And Mrs. Stewart is going to tell you about this book and the name of this book. What is the name of this book, Miss?
Well, right now it's named Till Death Do Us Part, but I'm going to change the name because there are some mistakes in this. And the new book under the new name, Behind Closed Doors, will be out in 3 to 4 weeks. I've already talked to the printer, and the printer is Brant Doubleday in Iowa. And so she knows what's going on, and she's read the book herself, and she's really anxious to get with it, and she's also asked me to do the changes, make the changes that's going to be made. So I want everybody to bear with me until we get the book out.
Well, was this book hard to make? Was it hard to write since this was entitled Your Life?
It was a life of over 30 years of abuse, and it was very hard to write because my husband wouldn't allow me to cry when it was happening. He would take his belt and wrap it around his hand and dare me to cry. If you shed a tear, I'm gonna beat you, you know.
Well, wait. Now I want you to think about how many people, how many of you women have been abused and gone through these kind of things in life. But you know what? That's not God's will. But you need to read this book. It is special and unique, and I know God had His hand in this whole thing. So what I want you to do is, I mean, you know, we're going to find out a little bit more about this young lady. I call her the mystery lady, the hat lady. And there's a whole reason behind everything that she got going on. So tell me, why did you write this book?
For therapy, really. When I started out, my son, my youngest son, was living out on, well, he'd moved from Arizona to out on the lake, and had started a business. And so I came here to help him get his business started. So he had been telling me for some years on the phone, and when I was with him, Mother, I want you to write our story. He always referred to it as our story because abuse affects the children just as much as they do the mother or more, you know, and let's don't forget that.
Actually, the whole family.
And so it went on, and one day, this was in 1987, before computers was ever in stores. And my daughter came in for work, and she was working at a print shop. My son owned a print shop at that time, and she was working with him in the print shop. And she came home with this computer, and I said, "Dear God, what have you got there?" And she said, "Brother said, tell you to start writing." I said, "I don't know how to plug it up, let alone to write." He said, "Mother, you can do it." So I had heard at different times when I first started emailing people, you know, and people was recommending that you write something that bothers you enough, sit down and write it, get it out of your system, tear it up and throw it in the trash can.
Now there's a story about this black hat.
Those black hats.
Because see, I need a black hat. One of you know.
Well,
Good guys wear black hats. Or
yeah.
is it white hats? I don't know, but it look good on
They
me.
say white hats, but mine is a black hat. My husband, during the course of the abuse, everything goes back to the abuse in the story in the book. He, one night he just lifted me out of a reclining chair by the hair of the head, and he literally pulled my hair out. And there was a spot, the doctor said about 4 inches in diameter, that the skin was actually pulled loose from the skull. So it was only just little sprigs of hair there, and what hair I had left was like from my ears down.
Oh my God.
And so it was embarrassing to be in public, and you have to wear certain kind of hats in certain kind of places. You have to keep up with the style of what's going on. And it was embarrassing, and so God knows how to work these things out. So there was one man, my daughter was a professional singer, and she was singing at this, was a restaurant bar thing, family type thing. People brought their kids and all in. And this man would come in on Saturday night and with his girlfriend, and she'd sit at the bar, and because he was watching something on the television or something, and he was standing there watching. And so about 11:30, he'd always come over to me and ask me to dance with him, because he knew I could swing dance. Not too many people could swing dance.
Oh my Lord.
And of course I was twice his age then, you know, at that time. So he kept saying, why don't you have you a hat? Because 50–60% of the women in Arizona, they wear these hats.
Oh.
Into a bar, especially in the bar or a restaurant.
So you got to be a cowboy.
Yeah,
a cowgirl.
So, yeah. So this guy was a cowboy. It was a real cowboy. And so this went on for like 3 or 4 Saturday nights in a straight like that. And he come in, he said, "You still don't have a hat?" I said, "No, I'm a poor lady. I can't afford one of those Stetson hats. They're expensive, you know." So he said he took not this hat, but one like it, off his head, and he put it on my head. He said, I was in Tucson today, and I bought this for you, and I don't ever want to see you in here with your daughter again without that hat on.
Oh.
So I took him at his word. So the next night, my daughter, we were living in separate apartments. And so it was time for her to start performing, so I usually always went in the back door. She always went in the back door, so I followed, and I went in, you know, the back door behind her. And I forgot to wear the hat. Well, he had told the bouncers to tease me, you know, and not let me in if I come there without the hat. So the bouncer grabbed me, and he said, "Hey, Miss Evelyn, wait a minute." And I said, "What?" And he said, "You can't come in here." I said, "Oh, yes, I can." He said, "No." I said, "Why?" He said, "Where's your hat?" I said, "Oh, my God," you know. I turned around, and he said, "No, no, no." And I started to leave, and the bouncer kept calling me back. So I only lived 1 block away. I went back home and got it. So this past, I wore that hat from 1994, until Christmas. My children bought me this new one. They said, "Mom, it's time you had a new hat."
Oh my Lord.
So that's the story behind the hat, but it's really become my trademark. I've had so much fun with this hat.
Now this picture of you and the hat will be on your new book,
Yes.
right?
Oh yes.
So we want you to wake up and get this, because see, the abuse and all of these things that's out here in this country is, man, it's something got to be done.
Yeah.
God is ready to change things in the hearts and the minds of the people.
Yes,
So all I want you to do is just get the hunting for this book. You need it.
Check it out on Facebook too. I'm on Facebook.
On Facebook.
Yeah.
Under Evelyn.
Fort. Under Evelyn Fort, actually, on Facebook.
Evelyn Fort on Facebook.
Yeah.
So we'll leave more information here later on. But, you know, God is so good to us. You know, the life that we live. Now, I can recognize, I can relate in somewhat from being a man of color. you know, the pain, the rejection, the hurt, and the abuse. But you know what? That's not a crutch for me to lean on. I believe and I trust God. So I encourage everybody to trust and believe God, because changes is about to come in the lives of God's people. And, you know, when you got the guts to step out and make a difference, that's what's going to change this country. And that's what's going to change God's people all over the world. You know, yeah, we got too much destruction, too much violence, too much killing, and it's in the games, it's on the television, it's everywhere. But when you got something that's got the reality of a person's life, then you can make a movie of this. And I'm waiting for it.
I believe there will be a movie made from it in the near future, because God, like you said, God is working. He's working with people. But getting back to being painful to do it, in order to write it, I had to relive it. And that's when I cried sometime for days on end. And there would be times it would be so painful until I was tempted to just burn it, you know, and then I thought, well, no. And then this went on for months. And finally one day, one of my nieces had come to visit me, and she graduated from a Bible college. And I'd asked her to read it and see what she thought about it, you know, the story. So she did. She sat down and wrote it, and she said, I don't know how you got through this. I said, well, only the love and help of God and the mercy of God that I did get through it, because I didn't know what schizophrenia was those days. And when the doctor had diagnosed him as being schizophrenic, I didn't know what he was talking about. And I tried to find out through other people, you know, can somebody explain this to me? And nobody never did explain it to me. But you just have to tighten up them old bootstrings and hold your head up and just keep on going.
You hear that, don't you? You got to tighten up, straighten up, and walk right, and God will take care of the rest.
I'm living a happy life, and I'm here on Sundays with Brother Ron and Sister Kim, and just really enjoying myself.
You know, we got a little church, but we got a big heart. We got the heart of God.
We got a little church, but we got to build a big one. And we're working towards it right now.
And it's on the way.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I'm not just looking at right now, but I'm looking at the future. You know, we can preach gloom and doom, and we can sing gloom and doom. But when we got the love and the joy of God in us, the strength, keep us hanging in there, keep us going on. And, you know, there was another person I wanted to mention in this interview, because she's so dear to our hearts, to yours and mine.
Yeah.
And her name is Janie King. We call her Sylvia. You know, oh yeah, she is a book writer out of this world. And I'm so proud for her.
I've met her, and we just had fun every day, back and forth over it. And she's on a, what is it, Band Story?
Mm-hmm.
It's a group for writers. And she's already got me 2 blue ribbons, and the 3rd one's almost there. And people, I don't know how many countries has reviewed it and wrote me, you know, on their reviews.
Oh, it is I read some of it. It's good. It is off the chart. And I ain't much of a reader, but once you start reading this book, you know, and get into it, I always have my wife to sit down and read it to me, you know, because I like to sit back and put Cheetos between my toes and just kind of crunch and munch every now and then, you know.
Yeah, oh yeah.
That's the life. That's love.
That is love. That's love. Yeah, and I know you guys do love one another. I know that. I can see it in your face, you know.
Can you?
Absolutely.
Well, we may need to get the good side of that, because
I know you'd never abuse a woman. I know that.
Oh, no. They're too precious. Well,
and another thing I want to say is about, you know, in the beginning, it was about the women. All the women was being abused. But I'm going to tell you what, there are a lot of abusive women out there that he's really abusing. I had one man to drive from Texas to Mountain Home to try to find me. That's back right after the first book was published. My first book was published. And I came home one day and my phone rang, and it was the man that owned was a Cherry Tree bookstore around home that time that's not there anymore. I don't know where he went. And he said, Miss Stewart said, while you were gone, said a man called here wanting your phone number, and he said I wouldn't give it to him. And he said, but I told him that if to give me his phone number and I would get in touch with you, and then you could call him, you know. So I knew it had to be another abuse case, you know. So I called him and talked to him, and he said, I really need to talk to you. You know, he said, and he told me a little bit about his wife and some of what had happened. And I said, well, I can meet you at a restaurant. And he said, that'll be fine. And I said, well, just tell me which restaurant. So I met him at the restaurant. And he showed me some pictures where his wife had literally tore the skin off his neck.
Oh.
I said, how did she do that? And he said, I guess with her fingernails. How's anybody got them kind of fingernails? It had to be something else.
Well, you know, abuse.
So I got him through that, and I don't know what happened to him.
Abuse is both sides. I mean,
it's both ways.
As being a pastor, I find a lot of men that's been abused, as well as women.
I've counseled with quite a few men that's been abused. I really have.
So now, going back a little bit, when you was a little girl at home, and you told me a story about
my black Manny. Oh, she's a sweetheart. Oh man, I still miss her. I still miss her. She took care of me. Well, I'm getting ahead of my story here. When my grandmother, my father's mother, when my father was born, his mother died in childbirth. So my granddaddy had inherited a lot of the ex-slaves, the ones that was pretty much born here in America, because he was a good man, and they hunted him out. And so when he got too old to be able to do the farming and keep the farming going and grow enough food to feed all these people, because they had no place to grow nothing, you know. But and then it was handed on down to my dad. Well, my grandfather was one of the older ladies. Her name was Kit. He fixed her room and everything in the baby crib, and she lived in that room during the day, and then take the baby out. And those days, we didn't see color. We didn't see color. You know, we were a family. We had come together as a family. And so then Granddaddy, before he retired, he started the older ones. My granddaddy, my dad and my grandfather both was part of the Underground Railroad that worked together with his darkies, and that we were not allowed to call people not colored, you know, that was his darkies. These people was his family. You mess with them, you mess with me. You know,
that's the way I am today. You mess with them, you mess with me. But I'm excited. I really am, and I can feel something good working here. I know God is in the plan, and it is a pleasure, Sister Evelyn Fort, to have you and to talk to all of God's people across the country. We ain't gonna just stop here, but we're going around the world. And this message that's going to be carried out, you know, and help people to see that you can make it, and you can overcome, and you can come through anything.
If there a publisher out there that buys up the rights of the book, you know, that's what I would. That's what I need. That's what I'm praying for God to send me. Is somebody to I can sell the rights of the book to them and. For a movie contract. Okay. And then we'll have the church.
We have a big, juicy church with you. Now, give us the name of that book one more time.
Behind Closed Doors.
Remember that. Behind Closed Doors. and go to Facebook on Evelyn Fort, and you can get more information, or either look up Janie King on Facebook. What's the name of that? Our True Connection Ministry. Ron and Kimberly Childress, and I guarantee you, you will enjoy it. And so I'm not going to keep you long, but I thank God for this interview, and I know it's going to be all right.
It's going to be all right. It's going to be all right.
If you pray with me, and I pray with you, I know God is going to work it out, because the prayers of the righteous avail as much.
That's right.
And we can change this world.
We can change it.
And I'm coming to get my part.
We can do anything we set our mind to do.
So this is Brother Ron Childress with the True Connection Ministry here in Gassville, Arkansas. Now you can write us also at P.O. Box 515, Gassville, Arkansas. The zip is 72635. And come on out. We do our services on Thursday night at 7 o'clock, Sunday morning at 10, and Sunday afternoon at 6 o'clock. So we want you to just come and feel welcome. It's like Walmart. Come get what you need, and God will take care of the rest.
That's true.
God bless you,
Amen.
and see you later.